Welcome friends to this new video of Sapphire Talks English. In this video we shall discuss the important economic events that have happened in India and outside India over the past 2-3 days, that is since 7th April 2026. Within India, the most important economic event would be the approval given by the Union Cabinet for infrastructure projects worth 1,74,000 crore rupees. Now out of this, the major component would be 41,000 crores approved for a subsidy for nutrient based fertilizers for the Kharif 2026 season. Friends, we are aware that there could be a shortage of urea in some of the in the coming months, or there could be a fluctuation in price of urea in the coming months on account of the war that is going on in the Middle East. The major component in the production of urea is definitely petrochemical products. On that account, it is expected that the prices for urea would fluctuate, and in order to safeguard the farmers and ultimately the end consumers from these price fluctuations, the union government has decided upon a subsidy of 41,000 crores for fertilizers for the Kharif 2026 seasons to be distributed among the farmers. The government of India has also decided to upgrade the HPCL refinery at Rajasthan. For that, about 79,000 crore rupees have been kept aside. 13,000 crore rupees have been kept aside for Jaipur Metro Phase 2, and two major hydroelectric projects are expected to come up at Arunachal Pradesh at a cost of 40,000 crore rupees. In the present scenario, when there is a lot of apprehension of a slowdown in the economic activity, the central government, it seems, has taken upon itself to boost the economic activity by taking such infrastructure projects in their hands. Definitely, when the private sector is not able to step forward, it is incumbent upon the central government to undertake infrastructure projects to ensure economic generation, the development of demand within the economy, and to ensure that generally the growth rate in the economy is maintained. The RBI has announced that they would maintain the repo rates at 5.25%. Now friends, I would like to divert a bit and first explain what is meant by repo rates. Repo rate is the rate at which the Reserve Bank of India lends to other banks. Now when the repo rate increases, the rates offered by other banks for loans to their ultimate customers also go up. When the rates of interest go up, naturally there is a lesser offtake of loans. Accordingly, there is lesser circulation of money in the economic system, on account of which inflation is checked, but also the growth rate is also reduced. So one can definitely say that if the repo rates go up, the growth goes down and inflation also goes down. So at the present moment, we are already facing inflationary pressures because of the war in the Middle East, which has increased the prices of crude oil and other commodities. In this situation, definitely RBI would not like to reduce the interest rate so as to boost growth, because any reduction in interest rate would definitely result in the growth getting boosted, but at the same time inflation would also increase. So RBI has wisely decided to do nothing at all at present. They have kept the interest rates at 5.25% as they were, and maybe they would assess the situation in the coming months, and if the situation stabilizes, RBI would reduce the repo rate. If the situation gets more unstable, or if there is a risk of inflation, RBI would definitely be tempted to increase the repo rates a bit. Let's see what happens. The third thing that has happened over the past 2-3 days is that the financial institutions, including the RBI, have slightly downgraded India's growth forecast. Earlier, it was expected that the Indian economy would grow at 7.5% during the financial year 26-27, but now because of this unstable situation, the growth rate has been tempered down to 6.9%. We can still grow at 7.5% if the situation in the Middle East stabilizes, but if the situation continues as it is just now, or if the war grows even more severe, in that case it may even be difficult to achieve this 6.9% revised forecast. So let's wait and watch how things go. From the perspective of the global economy, things have looked better since 8th April 2026. This is because of the ceasefire declared between US and Iran. The ceasefire announcement has been greeted with lot of enthusiasm, or at least some enthusiasm, from the commodity markets and stock exchanges. The US Dow Jones certainly went up. At the same time, the price of crude oil decreased to $95 per barrel. So this was definitely a positive indication, but friends, I have to say that this ceasefire seems to be a lot fragile. Since 4 hours of the ceasefire being declared, shots have been fired between Iran and UAE. At the same time, there has been an increase in the war efforts between Israel and Lebanon. So friends, we have to wait and watch how far this ceasefire exists, how far this ceasefire continues. If the ceasefire comes to an end, definitely things would go back to where they were and the price of oil would increase and the stock markets would come down. So as far as the global economy is concerned, this fragile ceasefire has brought some cheer over the past 2 days. Now how things will remain is something that we have to wait and watch. So if we have to summarize the Indian situation as well as the global situation, I would simply say this, that as far as India is concerned, we continue to remain vulnerable to oil shocks because we are still importing 90% of our oil, and a large part of it was coming from the Middle East until recently. Some is still coming from the Middle East. Now we are trying to diversify our oil imports by importing from Russia, Canada, Australia and other countries. But the fact remains that the Middle East oil was cheapest because it came from very near. Earlier, Russia used to offer huge discounts to India, and it made it worthwhile to continue importing Russian oil from afar, because even after adding the increased transport cost, the Russian oil was still cheaper because of the discounts that they were willing to offer. But Russian discounts have now disappeared, and so Russian oil is definitely costly. So the situation is that India may see a steady supply of oil, but the important question is at what rate? Will the prices remain stable at the petrol pump? So this vulnerability still exists, and we have to wait and watch how things pan out on this front. In this situation where there is such a large inflationary pressure because of the oil shocks, it is highly unlikely that at least in the short run or medium run the RBI would reduce their repo rates. So RBI has kept the repo rate stable at present. The repo rate at best will remain stable, or there is a high risk that it may increase if the oil shocks and resultant inflationary pressures increase. This is seen all over the world. Neither the US Federal Reserve nor the European Central Bank, nobody is in the mood to reduce the repo rates at present. The growth forecast for India, I would say, still is at 6.9%, which is not bad. It is a bit worse than the earlier 7.5% estimate, but still I would say 6.9% is not that bad. But if you look all around the world, the growth is not there at all. The result of this is that the Indian exports will have a difficult time in finding markets. At the same time, there would be a lot of inflationary pressure on Indian imports because of the crude oil prices and commodities and products getting expensive everywhere around the world. So friends, the smartest thing for everyone to do at this moment would be to be a bit conservative. Preserve your money in a liquid form. Do not make unnecessarily aggressive investments. Wait and watch over the next 2 to 6 months how things pan out, and based upon that you can take risks and try to achieve a better growth after the situation is clear for everybody. Friends, if there's anything important which comes to my notice regarding the economic situation in India or around the world, I'll definitely make a fresh video and come to you with that video. Till then, I bid you goodbye. If you have found this video interesting, please like this video, subscribe to our channel. Till then, I bid you goodbye. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Vande Mataram.